I'm tapping in with a quick video. So I just wanted to tap in real quick and talk about some things that I experience a lot, like in the area where I live at. So if you I want to talk a little bit how wicked conjecture is. You could with conjecture. So I just want to talk about how wicked conjecture is. So like I have some experience with young people, guiding young people, correcting young people, but more so leading young people would be the better. I think that it's really no one's. I think it's no one's prerogative in life to correct anyone, even like an adult to a child. You can't really correct someone because it's their prerogative to be who they are, and there's only so much. Ostensibly, we assume that because we're older, we know what's best for ourselves and for a young person that would be a guardian over. But from that point, from that standpoint alone, we assume authority over another person to the point of directing their free will. That's what I understand paternalism is, and a lot of modern society, modern Western society, is highly paternal. The entire experience of life, almost from the cradle to the grave, is paternal, and someone doesn't necessarily have to be older than you to exert paternalism over you. If you imagine like some elderly people at a assisted living, and you have like some young people that are exerting paternalism, part of paternalism, part of it would be like a sexual component, and then part of it would be like a judgment, and that goes together. That might be what's significant about college, because like so like a lot of times, so like what is power, what is sway, what is say so. It would be probably a combination of judgment. Real say so would be a combination of judgment, appeal, that can be largely sexual but not necessarily sexual. Judgment, appeal, and then you might add wit to that, and then also you might add esteem, like social esteem. So you get those going together. You have like the perception of having judgment, appeal, a little bit of wit. Some form of having appeal would have taken wit to get to that point. And then also you would have like the social proof. They call it social proof, the social confirmation of your status. That amounts to say so and pull, and telling another person what to do, or influencing another person how to behave, how to act, but more so how to feel about themselves, because how they feel about themselves is gonna inform how they act, no less than their confidence or doubt. And you actually need both confidence and doubt. A healthy combination of both is a human being. And as you're younger, that works in your favor, because we are constituted as and exist within so many fine balances, including within ourselves. That's what's actually so beautiful about watching a very young person take off on two wheels for the first time, is because they're very balanced in the first place. According to Arthur Avalon, a lot of life is in its highest beauty when young. So a human being is almost in their most beautiful aspect when they're young, because there's so much of themselves while they're young. But they're also balanced at that point, balance par excellence at a young age. So then you take them on a bike, and then the bike is balanced, and so it's almost like it's like a paradox and a metaphor and a coalescing of the balance between a young person and the balance between this existence that would allow a bike to go on two wheels. That's what's significant about that. But all I meant to say is that we are more of ourselves when we're younger, and we're balanced in terms of doubt and confidence. That allows us to fear things in the appropriate, because actually you could say that a child has more profound confidence in faith when they're inspired to, and they also have more profound fear when younger. That's significant. That's actually what a natural human being is like. When kids are like scared of the dark like that, that's healthy, because that's healthy fear right there. That's the power of our mind. Our mind is constituted with fear and faith. So when I got something like perched up somewhere, I'm afraid it might fall. that fear is actually a form of judgment. I'm doubting whether it can stay still or not. And then by me managing that amounts to different, if you can imagine, a lot of a person's personality would be, how do they approach it, how do they appreciate something perched in a precipitous position up on a stool or a table? Do they think it may fall, or do they have confidence that it will stay still when it reasonably could fall like that? That's a lot of your I think the generals, the tank generals, the German tank generals in Africa, they had something called Spitzenfeel, something about fingertip feel. That's a lot of who we are in terms of judgment. A lot of judgment is fingertip feel like that, but it's more profound in a young person. And then, by and large, being young, you come up against so many forms of paternalism. A lot of it from the adults that are older than you, but as you're coming through school, it starts to become from your peers also, because your peers start to have social proof and appeal and maybe wit, and then opportunities to exercise judgment, and that actually amounts to some say-so and paternalism next to you as your very peer in school. But then throughout life, you're always experiencing paternalism, countless paternalism, from customers to bystanders to civilians to jobs to education, you name it, it's paternalism all the way around. But it also, when you're young, it's natural to have paternalism coming down. So as you're getting through school, a lot of paternalism is coming down on you. You probably experience some of it with your peers in school, like they would call that, maybe an extreme example would be peer pressure, but that might be a little bit different. I haven't thought about the similarity between peer pressure and paternalism. That actually might be what makes you an individual, because you're coming through paternalism as you're young. But then the oversight of your parents, it actually fails to meet the rigors and the pressures of your very peers in school. So when you're in school, you can see the failure of the oversight of your parents and the competence of your parents and how they prepare you. So yeah, so we got you all ready for school, and this is your lunchbox, and we got you, and make sure, and honey, and fix your hair real quick like that. And then we're gonna give you a drive. We're gonna give you a drive to school because we don't want you taking that stupid school bus. And then there's your teachers. Say hi to your teachers. Okay, bye. Did you see her mom? Her mom is like, so then the other kids are at school like, her dad is such a dumbass. Like, did you see those high waters and that bowl cut fade? So that's an example of how as you're over prepared for your first day of school, say in middle school, you get out the car, and then boom, you got peer pressure on you right there, and the peer pressure is more formidable. Some would say maybe more competent. It's more to be reckoned with than what your parents could have prepared you for, and that might be how you come into your own person, is managing these peer pressures, social pressures, which a lot are maybe antisocial, anti-moral, anti-healthy, whatnot. Maybe some redeeming, but a lot of them are ostensibly not in your best interest or anyone's interest, just bad news. But it's still influential and forceful, and you have to deal with it. Then you have what your parents prepare you with, and what they can do for you, and the support that you still have of your parents, but then the pressures in the black hole of peer pressure, which there can be beautiful things inside of black holes, and maybe universes and new opportunities in life also come out of black holes. But a lot of peer pressure is like a black hole. That paradox right there may be what forms you, yet you still encounter paternalism through that and beyond that once you become an adult, all the way around. And so when you're young, you're used to it coming down, and you live a little bit, and so in your first jobs and whatnot, your first education, you're getting paternalism from people who are older than you. But then it starts to taper off a little bit, and what becomes profound is when you first start to experience paternalism from peers of yours or people younger than you. It's significant, but that's actually part of being mature, is that you realize that people who are younger than you and your peers can also have as much judgment and perspective outside of you, because as soon as I'm sitting here standing in this camera, you watching this video actually might have a better idea of what's behind me, because we can't see and know all things. So there is leadership that is valid, that goes up, down, and across. But paternalism in itself can be a problem, and it's largely about appeal, maybe like wit, social proof, confirmation of social status, and in judgment, and like a sense of entitlement and judgment lends itself to paternalism, and that all comes out of college.